Hi, this is Numeric Citizen. In today's video, I want to look back at the past year and also have a look at the upcoming year and see where craft could be going. Plus, something about creating a new space. Let's get started. So we got our last craft release this week, and I think this release marks a long streak of different releases that came out this year, and we saw craft evolve in new directions and as well as improving many aspects of its core experience. And in this video, I wanted to look back at and highlight a few things that I think are important in the current state of craft. There's three things I want to highlight. The first thing is anything that is related to document sharing. I think craft received a lot of attention this year regarding this area of functionalities. The second highlight is about collaboration. Again, I think content creation happens often within a team, and craft in that space receive a few welcome feature upgrade. And also the last but not least, the Craft AI Assistant, which came out just recently. So let's talk about the document sharing features. For some, I think it's a good thing to see craft evolve in a more powerful content sharing platform. Now we can use custom domain to share content. We can also have analytics, which help us see how often people are visiting our website built on craft. And also we have things like templates, which can be shared with others, and people can download a duplicate of a template if the author feels it's okay to do so. So in that respect, we add a lot of update to craft. I would say that craft is not becoming a challenger to WordPress or Ghost or any platforms like that. But I do see craft evolving very rapidly this year in that space. And for me, as a content creator who likes to share its content, it's a welcome addition to the craft ecosystem, because I like to build a mini website where I can share different things related to my passions. So to me, I think it's a good evolution to see craft evolving like that in the past 12 months. Also, there is another area where craft is evolving. Is about collaboration. In that space, we finally saw the introduction of notifications, where now we can get notification when someone drops a comment on a website. So they kind of both go together with the document sharing features. So now we can get notification. We can mention somebody else within a team. So we can better collaborate together, and also we saw improvements in the commenting features, which helps make craft a better collaboration tool. I don't think craft is about to be a highly collaborative platform, though. I think there's a lot of things to improve in that space, but certainly this year we saw a lot of improvement in that area, and I think it's a welcome change. Because if you share something on the web and there is no way to get comment or get notified when somebody was writing a comment on your website, I think it was a pretty big flaw, which has been corrected by the craft team. So that's the second area of improvements where we saw this year. And the last thing we saw in the last couple of weeks is the introduction of the Craft AI Assistant, or the Craft Assistant. It's a welcome change. At first, I was kind of skeptical about this, but I did find a few use cases to integrate within my content creation workflow. So I think it's a good addition. It's a good tool to help trigger some content or help a writer to be kind of a complement to working and writing stuff. So I think it's a pretty amazing addition to the craft experience. So that's the three main highlights I wanted to bring for this past 12 months of relentless iteration and updates by the craft team. And for that, I think it's a kudos to those guys who work pretty hard to bring added value to the craft application. Now I want to look ahead and see how the next year could bring added features and improvements to craft. And for that purpose, speaking of the craft assistant, I did ask the craft assistant, where do you think craft docs will evolve next year? And I'll let you see the actual answer I got from the craft assistant. It's pretty funny. But more seriously, there's a few things I'd like to see coming next year. And when I was thinking about this segment of the video, I kind of look back at what happens when there is a new release of craft. And each time I see a lot of people happy, but I see also a lot of people who are being frustrated by things that they don't get and they ask for, and they're kind of tired of waiting for new features to come to craft. And I think there's two things that I think might explain why some people are frustrating with each release of craft. One of the reasons is because when I look at what's missing from craft, there's a few things here and there that I don't think are kind of very complex to implement. Let's say, I give you an example, like there's a few issues related to keyboard shortcuts handling, and I think those things are pretty easy to implement in a structured manner, and it's kind of frustrating to wait for each release when there's so many releases coming out of the gate, and we're still waiting for things like keyboard shortcuts to be better organized or better implemented across the platforms. So I think it's one of the reasons why people are kind of frustrated with craft when we see that many releases. I'm not saying that we should see less releases, but I'm just trying to explain why some people are frustrating with each releases. So if I look ahead and what I'd like to see improve in craft, I think there should be more improvement to the support of Apple's platform. One example being shortcuts, which has been kind of a pretty basic support, and this has not been touched for many months. I don't remember when the last time an update added new features related to shortcuts. And I do see a lot of people, and myself included, who would benefit from having a better support, a more extensive support for shortcuts in order to improve our workflow. So that's something I'd like to see. There is some inconsistency between different platforms, like from the keyboard shortcuts, where there is more combination that should be added. One example is when we are inserting a template from the template chooser. Why on earth we cannot use the arrows to kind of go to the next to select our template within the template chooser? I do see that as a pretty simple thing to implement, but we are still waiting for that to come to craft. So I would like to see more consistency and more improvements to the platform support. And for that, I did write an article in Let's Talk About Craft, where I do expose a lot of things that should be improved within each platform. So I'll put the link in the YouTube video description. The other thing I'd like to see is a better formatting options, more extensive formatting options. If you look at craft, when people share documents, we can see pretty easily that those documents were built in Craft. And the reason for that, I think, is because the formatting options seems to be pretty extensive, but in fact, they're pretty much limited. So this is why all documents created with Craft they kind of have a similar look and feel to them. So as Craft add more features for formatting, then we could see more diversity in the way we are creating documents. If I do a parallel with Microsoft Word, it's hard to tell when a document has been shared that this document has been written in Microsoft Word, because there is so many possibilities in formatting options in Word that we cannot tell if it was done in Word or in Apple Pages or things like that. So again, I'd like to see more formatting option for text, for images, for cards, and things around really how we can kind of format and arrange our content within a document. And the other thing I'd like to see is more about organization enablers, like the ability to be able to generate a table of content just based on the document's headings within the document itself. To me, it's kind of pretty easy to implement. Applications like Ulysses, a writing application, does that just based on the headers that the writer is using within the document. So I don't see any reason why we cannot see that in Craft, and it should even go within the navigation pane on the left, where we could expand the document and see all the headers just populated automatically without doing anything. It would help a lot for those who are writing a lot of long documents like me. So that's another thing I'd like to see, or something like being able to search across spaces. I don't expect that to be easy to implement, but I think it's a must-have feature to be able to find content between spaces, and also to be able to search for the actual document contents within Spotlight, just not only between the document title. We should really be able to search within the document content. So again, this is the type of things I'd like to see in Craft. I hope that the next year we'll see a lot of maturing coming to Craft, and I don't want to see Craft expand in too many more directions. There's so many things that must be done to complete what has been introduced in 2022, that I hope that they will continue to build on those new direction and add refinements to the added features that they did in the past year. So that's, I would say, what I expect for the next 12 months. So that's it for the look back and the look ahead for Craft. And can you imagine? I forgot to talk about tags. Yeah, we are still waiting for tags to come to Craft, and I do expect that we'll have to wait a bit longer to get them. I would expect to get them in the next 12 months. I don't know why it takes so long to implement, to add. I don't know what kind of implementation the Craft team will try to do, and if it's released this year, in the next year, I do expect that to be to see a lot of iteration on the theme of tags. So yeah, I forgot to tell about the tags thing. I hope that we see that in the next 12 months. So that's it for my look in the past and my look in the future. Now, the other thing I want to talk about the past 12 months is the fact that I started creating those videos in June of this year, and this is you're watching video number 37, and I really enjoy doing that, and I'm pretty happy with the results and the feedback or the traction that those videos are getting. What I'd like though, and is two things. The first thing is I'd like to continue next year to create those videos But the other thing I really would like and I would appreciate is that if you feel like it, there's a link in each video in description where you can show your appreciation, and by using PayPal you can send me some kind of money if you like to help me continue this journey, and also maybe to say thank you very much, keep going next year, and I will be very thankful for that. I recently created a new space within Craft, and this is not something we do often. Depending on the way you are organizing the content of your Craft environment, you may decide to have many spaces, but for me, I don't have that many. And recently I created a new one, and I thought that it would be a good time to share the reasons why I created this specific space. So right now what you're seeing is a portion of my private space. If I go to the newly created space, which is called the SDDC Box project, this is something I created recently. And the reason I created a new space for that is because there is nothing in common with the rest of my content within Craft. This is something completely different. It's work related, and it's in the computer science domain, and there is very nothing to share with the rest of my content. So that's the reason number one. The reason number two is because this is a website. You can, I'll share the link to the website in the video description. And I want to share this website under my custom domain, which comes with my business subscription. So that's the reason number two why I'm using a different space. So you've got it, two reasons why I chose to create a new space within Craft. Okay, now I'm really done with this video. Thanks for watching, and see you for another one. Bye.